What's up? It's Gwen Stefani, and I'm going to take you through some of my key songs. Welcome to my Pandora story. The Girl was a song that I wrote with No Doubt back in the olden days. And I remember this was like when I first started writing songs. Like, I literally probably had only written like one or two songs before that. The reason I had the title was being in a band with all guys and playing like around the circuit and being like the only girl. There was a lot of situations where I found myself feeling like, whoa, okay, like actually my sex does actually, my gender makes a difference in this world. I didn't think about that when I was a little girl. I just was a little girl. You don't really consider it. And then you're like walking to school one day and someone like you hear someone whistle at you and you're like, oh, what does that mean? All of a sudden you realize that your sexuality actually has power in it. And it also makes you very vulnerable. So I had this song in my head called Just a Girl. I had no idea that anyone would ever hear it. It was exactly what I was feeling. And now, all these years later, I have a show in Vegas called Just a Girl. And I feel like this song is more relevant than it's ever been. Writing the Love Angel Music Baby record, one of the things that I did was go around and work with all the like hottest, coolest songwriters that were out there. And one of the writers that I really wanted to work with was a guy called Dallas Austin. And he was out of Atlanta, Georgia, flew to Atlanta. I hung out with Dallas, who I didn't know, and we tried to write some songs. And he said to me, I have started this song and I thought about you, but I just need help finishing it. And it was a song called Cool. And he had the lyric cool, and I was like, that is just so cool. And it was crazy because it was a perfect timing to kind of write a song about Tony, who was the guy in my band that we broke up, and I wrote all of those songs about in the Tragic Kingdom. But this was like a song about saying we're still friends and we're cool about and we're always going to be friends. So I think that it was weird that he had already started the song and I got to finish it, but the song is so super personal to me. Girl, yeah, that was a song that I wrote with Pharrell Williams. And with Hollaback Girl, I think I just really wanted to write a song that was a mashup of the two of us together, something that he could bring and something that I could bring. And I think I had been kind of bullied a little bit about certain things in my life. And I always was trying to figure out, how do I get this out of my system, this feeling that I have? So I wanted to write a song about trying to overcome the feelings that I had. I can remember us being in New York, and we'd been writing all day long, and nothing was coming and nothing was happening, and sitting there trying to write the song, and I was trying to describe to Pharrell, I want it to feel like a cheerleader song, like like a cheerleader beat. And he goes, oh, you mean like this? I have this one. And he just started playing the beat to Hollaback Girl. I was like, what? You had that this whole time and you're just now showing it to me? And we started writing, and he was like, okay, I'm going to go to lunch and you can finish the words. I'll be back. And I was like, what? You're going to leave me here alone? And it forced me to just finish the song. And he came back and we looked at each other and we were like literally doing like the Tom Cruise jumping on the couches moment, like, oh, we did it. We did it. And we knew that we had something really special. Speak actually has a really long story, but I'll make it really short. I have an older brother, Eric Stefani, who is one of the most gifted, talented human beings, who really started No Doubt and was the main songwriter in No Doubt. We basically had this band house where we wrote all our music, and he would stay up all night eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches and eating Fritos and drinking milk. And he would write these crazy songs, and we'd come in and be like, whoa, look what you did all night long. We were sleeping. And Don't Speak was one of those songs. And the label had said to us when they heard the original version of Don't Speak, that chorus is magical and incredible. Can you rewrite the verses? Because they're just a little too complicated. We were like, okay, let's just try it. And I remember sitting down on the piano with him and him being really sarcastic and being like, okay, you want to make it simple? He's like, you and me. Like, it was like these really short like melodies, because it used to be like, I can see it all in an eye blink. I know everything about that you are. It's like this really long melody. The original lyric was all about like this. It was a happy lyric, and I turned it into, what it is today, which is a song about breaking up. Tony broke up with me. So it was just one of those things where it's the song that took us around the world and is a song that will never, its sparkle will never fade. And I think a lot of people relate to it, and just feel really grateful to have that in my life. was a song that I wrote with Linda Perry. No Doubt was gonna be taking a little break. We'd never taken a break in all the years that we were together. But as soon as we were gonna take a break, I was like, "Ooh, I know what I wanna do. I wanna make a dance record." And when I went in the studio with Linda, it was one of the first times that I ever really collaborated outside of the band, with another songwriter. So and I remember going in the studio with her and explaining to her the kind of style of music I wanted to do. But I was like, I'm just so insecure. Like, I'm really worried. I don't know if I'm going to be able to write, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, Gwen, what you waiting for? And she was like, what you waiting for, Gwen? And I came in the next day and she had this kind of track with this chorus. And we went into the studio and I just basically would go in on the mic and we would just trade off. Like, she would do some ad libs, I would do some ad libs, and then we would piece it all together to make this crazy, like a cat, he's stuck it up. But I think the thing I loved about working with Linda and doing that record, it was I could do whatever I wanted, and there was no rules. It was like, let's do something crazy and that no one's gonna like. Who cares? Like, we didn't even care. It was like no rules. And that song to me was my way of telling myself, you gotta just stop being so insecure and you just need to just go and just be free. Girl. This is a song that was actually Dr. Dre's idea, and I wrote with Dr. Dre and Eve. Working with Dre is one of those things where it's like you're working with royalty and you just so desperately want it to be great. You feel so like not like you just don't feel like you're worthy. I think I was like way out of my league writing with him. I was on the treadmill in London and it just all came to me, like all the lyrics of all the verses. And I remember I like got off the treadmill and started like writing it down. And I was like, I've got to remember this. I finally have a point of view on this song. And I think my favorite memory of this song is actually sitting with Eve and watching her write her lyrics like right before my eyes, and she was just so talented, and to see her just be coming up with things right there right on the spot was just magical and inspiring. Escape. So my memories of this song are pretty clear. I had just given birth to my first baby boy, Kingston James McGregor Rossdale. And I was not in the mood to go in the studio, but my head of my label, Jimmy Iovine, who signed me back in the day, said, you need to go into this session with Akon. And he said, Gwen, whatever you do, just take this session. This is the one. If you could do anything for me, please take this session. And I remember going to the studio, putting my baby in his little bassinet, and walking in and meeting Akon and realizing that, wow, I feel like I know you already. Like, we had so much in common. It was like instant chemistry. And I explained to him kind of the vibe that I wanted to go with. We wrote the song Sweet Escape, and it probably is one of the biggest songs I've ever written. And it's just one of those magical moments that if I wouldn't have listened to Jimmy and I would have been lazy, I would have never had that song. So I felt really grateful. This is Gwen Stefani, and that was my Pandora story. Thanks for listening.